Hi there, my name is Rachel Berryman and I'm a PhD candidate in Internet Studies at Curtin University in Perth, Western Australia. Today I'll be presenting a very brief overview of my PhD project entitled Analysing Virtual Influences, Celebrity Authenticity and Identity on Social Media. I'd like to begin by paying my respects to the traditional custodians of the lands on which I live and study, the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation. I'd like to acknowledge their elders, past, present, and emerging, and to acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded. This always was, and always will be, Aboriginal land. Today, I'll begin with some background on what exactly virtual influencers are, before outlining the different methods I'm using for this project and offering some reflections on how virtual influencers really productively intersect with the themes of this pre-conference. So, without further ado, let's get underway and move into part 1, background. This project examines an emergent social media phenomenon variously known as virtual influencers, CGI influencers, virtual endorsers, algorithmic celebrities, and what's become a relatively common misnomer, AI influencers. Virtual influencers, though, is undoubtedly the most widely adopted descriptor, both by industry and in press. Broadly defined, virtual influencers are characters native to social media, with no singular referent in the offline world. They're typically designed to accumulate and monetize audience attention, and are recognizable for their animated, often computer-generated appearance, which, as you'll see from the images throughout this presentation, vary dramatically in design, from eerily humanoid to entirely fantastical. Since the late 2010s, the number of virtual influencers active on social media, the scope and complexity of their online behaviors, and the size of their audiences have all continued to grow. Residing across the globe and speaking an array of languages, the most popular virtual influencers have amassed hundreds of thousands of followers and have been recruited to promote the products, campaigns, and messages of major brands across a range of verticals, including luxury auto, fashion and cosmetics, food, technology, insurance, and even public health messaging for the World Health Organization. In parallel to their growing public profile and rising interest from fans, brands, and investors, virtual influencers have become a hot topic of scholarly research. The majority of this literature explores their marketing utility and consumer perceptions, but there's also a growing body of scholarship discussing their relation to misinformation and ethics, digital fashion, cultural identity, and, most relevant to my interests, celebrity and stardom. Even so, there's still plenty to explore. Very little is known, for example, about the numerous virtual influencers located beyond the global north, nor the people, software, and businesses that are involved in their creation and management. Recognizing these gaps, my PhD project aims to compose a holistic view of the virtual influencer phenomenon, encompassing the characters, their producers, and the industry that's formed around them as a foundation for future scholarly research. One of the most exciting aspects of studying virtual influencers is the dynamism of this topic, with new content, headlines, and developments occurring every day. But despite the extremely contemporary focus of this project, I'm also conscious of heeding the advice of Nancy Baim and Annette Markham, who advise Internet scholars to be attuned to, quote, what remains continuous across periods of rapid technocultural changes and what history has to teach us. In much recent commentary, and especially in press, virtual influencers have been celebrated for their novelty, but they actually emerge at the intersection of several historical trajectories of virtual beings that have been endowed with celebrity status. This includes East Asia's virtual idols and Japan's Vocaloids, the synthespians of Hollywood cinema, and the so-called cyberbabes which frequented Western popular culture in the late 90s. With their computer-generated bodies, cross-medium distribution, and commercial associations, each of these prototypical examples can be seen to have influenced the shape and approach of virtual influencers today. Departing from these examples, however, this project examines a cohort defined by their categorization as virtual influencers, a label that serves to align them with the behaviors and practices of a specific genre of internet celebrity, and explicitly within the context and cultures of visual social media. Which brings me to part 2, the approach. My project is guided by the tenets of Kathy Sharmas's constructivist grounded theory and employs a range of qualitative methods. Complemented by online interviews, participation at industry events, and document analysis of archival web and press, my project centers primarily on a sustained and multi-sided digital ethnography designed to observe the long-term characterizations, commercial networks, and narrative evolutions of virtual influencers across the globe, with a particular focus on the rapidly developing virtual influencer markets in East Asia and Latin America. Drawing on a broad conceptualization of digital ethnography, my project examines virtual influencers as a set of social, cultural, and industrial practices enabled by and native to digital and network technologies. Using purposeful sampling, it follows 15 case studies across an intricate web of social media platforms, from Silicon Valley and beyond. To offer an example of virtual influencers' multi-sided footprints, we could take a quick look at one of the most popular examples, Emma. Based in Japan and known for her candy pink bob, Emma has established a presence on 8 social media platforms, as well as the avatar chat room app Zepeto and the video game Animal Crossing New Horizons. As this breakdown suggests, examining just one platform would miss a significant portion of Emma's online activity, and the nuance of the identity that is being constructed within and across this extended online presence. With this in mind, my approach to coding and data analysis aligns with Tim Highfield and Tama Lever's argument that, quote, the visual is central to everyday life and social media practices, requiring researchers to broaden and diversify the way social media is examined and addressed. Specifically, I draw on Pierce and colleagues' method of visual cross-platform analysis to identify the semiotic meanings, platform cultures, and vernaculars embedded in the composition of the social media content I collect, alongside textual elements and any visible social media interactions. I also pay close attention to those elements of the image unique to virtual influencers, noting the traces in the image that have been explicitly manipulated or digitally produced, from the face alone, with features that have been digitally masked onto a human body double, for instance, to entirely 3D generated bodies, objects, and backdrops. Following on from this, I'd like to, perhaps quite ambitiously, propose that virtual influencers are an exemplary subject for developing and applying qualitative visual methods. In every aspect, virtual influencers draw explicit attention to the extensive backstage planning, decisions, and processes involved in social media content creation that so often go unnoticed. Just like their corporeal counterparts, virtual influencers post about their daily lives and pose in new outfits. They promote sponsored products and new brand partnerships, interact with followers, join trending conversations, repost memes, and attempt viral challenges. But every element you see in a post by a virtual influencer has been carefully, if not meticulously, planned, crafted, and polished. Taking the cultural ubiquity of photo editing apps to a new level, virtual influencers regularly infuse digital photography with advanced 3D modeling, photo editing, and animation techniques. In any given photo, strategic choices have been made about the location, camera angles, lighting, and shadows, the body's pose and facial expressions, the outfit, props, and branded products, and the correlates for any human companions. Each post is brainstormed, produced, and styled to align with the character's personal brand and storyline, plotted, scheduled, and copywritten to maintain narrative congruity, commercial appeal, and crucially, their audience's attention. What human influencers make seem casual and spontaneous, largely through their expert combination of what digital anthropologist Crystal Aberdeen calls visibility labor and calibrated amateurism, virtual influencers at once emulate and reveal for its artifice, deconstructing the process and polish of social media content in ways ripe for qualitative visual analysis. And with that provocation, I'd like to thank you very much for your time and attention. I really look forward to connecting with other scholars and social media researchers, so please don't hesitate to reach out to me on Twitter @ChannelEra or to visit my website for more information about my PhD project and other research. Thanks for watching!